People of Reddit. What's the quickest you've seen a new coworker quit? I quit the day before I started. Accepted a job at X amount of pay. Said we didn't know you went to nursing school with some of our workers and we told them what you'd be making hourly and they threatened to quit unless we pay you $3 HR less than what was agreed upon. I beg your pardon. Fuck right off. My mom lasted about 3 hours as a waitress. Some guy kept snapping his fingers and my mom assumed he was just snapping, so she ignored it. The woman training her said, "He wants coffee. That's why he's snapping," my mom said. "Then he can ask for it like a grown-up." It was loud enough for the guy to hear and he called my mom a bitch. She took off her apron and walked out. She was around 17. When she walked in the door, my grandmom said, "Well, you lasted longer than I thought you would." This dude was a first-day hire as a bagger at a grocery store. Some dude blew up the entire bathroom with diarrhea. Walls, doors, sink, mirror, everywhere. They asked new dude to go clean it. He clocked out and never came back. He's a hero. I guess me a college retail job. I showed up the first day and they said there was a mix-up about how much they were able to pay me versus what they had told me on the phone. It ended up being slightly less per hour than I was making at my current job, instead of slightly more. Luckily, I hadn't quit the current job yet. I said I was only staying on if they could give me the rate agreed called or pretended to call somebody. Came back and said there's nothing they could do. Welp, sorry it didn't work out. I think I got a paycheck for the exactly 1 hour of standing around talking about it that we did. Our previous timekeeper was going to resign, so they hired a new guy. Guy comes in for his first day, realized how big the company is, and without proper training or handover, he was just expected to do it immediately. Dude never came back the next day. Everyone panicked cause there was no timekeeper and payday is 2 days away. Had the new older guy introduced right before the morning shop meeting. The supervisor started in on his normal "do what I say or you'll be sorry" bullshit he does every morning. My hero new guy stood up and walked out. I never saw him again. 45 minutes into her first Dunkin' Donuts shift. I was showing her what buttons to press on the cream and sugar dispenser when she suddenly said, "I can't do this." And she walked out and started walking 5 miles home. A local bus passed by 10 minutes later. Yeah, I don't know. She had something going on with her personal life for sure. I was trading gas at a shop that had a reputation for treating their middle office folks very poorly, worked them hard, but paid them well. SK guy, nice dude. He was happy to come off what's called a real-time trading desk shift work and back to a normal schedule. Little did he know the risk team he was put on worked like fucking dogs. His second day, he gets up at lunch, doesn't come back. HR comes over to his manager, "Hey, blank," sent over a resignation email stating it was effective immediately. What a legend. Made the right move, IMO. I was a trainer learning ambassador at an Amazon fulfillment center when COVID hit. Nearly half of my coworkers quit before my next week began. Until I transferred to a different facility 3 months later. Every week involved training dozens of new hires, and most of them would quit sometime between day 1 lunch and the end of their first week. It was nuts. About 20 to work at a furniture warehouse back in the day. Offloading trucks was first truck. We opened the trailer. It's our 300 pounds tables. Even I was like, FML, I hate these. These are the absolute truly were the worst of it. And that was his offloads 2 tables. Went to the washroom. We never saw him again. They showed up, and a homeless person was sleeping in the donations and had dumped a huge jug of orange tempera paint all over the place. When the cops came to take the guy, they said to be careful cleaning up as the guy was an intravenous drug user. There were no gloves, just a shovel. They quit on the spot. It was me. I was the coworker. And I worked at Nabisco. At about 10 a.m. on his first day, another contractor turned to me and asked, "Is Nabisco owned by a tobacco company?" I said yes, but that we really had nothing to do with them. He got up and walked out. Working at an Ovet, It became so common for people to go to lunch and never return that I began only learning new people's names if they made it past their 90 days. Shit is not playing with puppies and kitties all day, and a lot of people cannot hack it. I had an interview and was told the salary was X. I was offered the job, but I was informed a mistake had been made and the salary was a fair chunk less than I'd been told at the interview. I replied, no problem. When do I start? Tomorrow at 8 a.m. Great, see you then. I put their number on silent, didn't show up, and those time-wasting Muppets kept calling me for far longer than I ever would have imagined well into the following week. Sent a lady out on her first solo delivery at Domino's. This was around 2013. After she's been gone for over an hour on a delivery that should have taken 30 minutes max, I give her a call. She said she's on her way back to the shows up, turns in her uniform and says she had to run home because she got nervous and pooped herself. She doesn't think this job is for her and she quits. I do industrial painting. We hired a local and I guess he was a house painter, cause when I handed him the grinder he said I ain't doing that shit and just left. I love how some of the comments describe the quitting coworker as either a slacker loser or a hero. I've always admired people who can say fuck this and walk out the door. They know what they're worth and don't want to be stepped on. Coworker me. I got a contracting gig to work as an analyst to document a new software project. By 10 a.m. I was in a meeting with the lead consultant telling the client that I would be the lead architect on a $40 million project that had already failed once. No one talked to me about that position. It wasn't the role or the pay scale I negotiated. When I got back to my desk, I called my consulting company and explained what had happened. They were not amused because they had negotiated their rate based on being an analyst, not a lead architect. My lead came to the client's office and we talked to the client. I left around 1 p.m. The consulting company people knew me from a previous gig. They knew my education and simply decided I would play along. Nope. Didn't even make it to the start of the first day. Was stopped by security on his drive-in before clock-in. We work at a federally protected facility, and he wouldn't give them permission to search his car. The funniest thing is 95 of the time, security just wants you to comply and say yes. They won't even search. Working at a steakhouse 25 years ago and was training a new server. About 2 hours in, a top table for 8 clears out, so I started stacking all the leftover glasses and some dishes on the tray. He came over and grabbed the tray to place it on his shoulder. Then did this awkward face plant with the tray of everything in the ground. Entire dining room went silent off the loud crash and his face looked a little smashed up. I calmly said, get yourself cleaned up and don't worry about it. Well, he went to the back and just bolted. After the shift, everyone was asking where did faceplant go. Anyway, about 2 years after that, I see the same guy running down the street full speed. I have no idea what he was running after or where he was going. But as I passed him in my car, he did another faceplant in the ground. I can still see him looking at me driving by while faceplanting. I was working at a book publisher and we hired a graphic designer. She came in at 9, worked till lunchtime, then announced that she was having carpet delivered that afternoon and had to go home early. We never saw her again. Thanks for watching.